I'm on a journey to catalogue the worst video games of all time, going from platform to platform and subjecting myself to the 10 lowest scoring games on each system.
My cock ring costs more than your car. Do you have a car?
I don't have a car.
It makes me miserable, but hopefully it makes you smile a bit. Oh God. Hello, I'm Ben and welcome to the video. Now, last time we explored the horrors that the PlayStation 3 had to offer, and we all had a fantastic time. But how did I decide those entries, and how will I choose what qualifies this time around? Well, I'll be heading to Metacritic, sorting by top reviewed, and then going all the way to the last page. Games with fewer than 7 critical reviews are not displayed by Metacritic, and I will honour that. I'm also going to be sticking to titles that got a physical release only, and will be avoiding repeat titles where the content is practically identical. Nice try, Rogue Warrior. You had your turn in the PS3 video.
Rock and roll, motherfuckers, rock and roll.
On today's naughty list, it's the Xbox 360. Are you ready? Then let's do this. We begin this video with a very naughty alien indeed, but just because he's starred in a poorly reviewed video game doesn't make him a bad guy, right? It's not like he's going to destroy all humans! Oh right, fair enough, he is a wrong one then. The fourth game in the series, Destroy All Humans, Path of the Furon, continues the adventures of Crypto, who, after crashing his ship into a casino whilst drunk, is now seemingly enjoying his new life of running the place. All it takes is a little industrial espionage on the part of a rival casino owner, however, for Crypto to resume his past mission and destroy! Yes, okay, we get it. He does this across the impressively poorly rendered Vegas stand-in of Las Paradiso, where the boundaries are a brown JPEG, buildings pop in from out of nowhere, and traffic and pedestrians are practically ethereal. Crypto does come equipped with a selection of gadgets and gizmos though, with his trusty Zap-O-Matic leading the charge, and you can use brain wizardry to levitate and launch humans and objects, hear victims' private thoughts, and, of course, have them break out into spontaneous dance. Naturally, this serves an incredibly tactical purpose. Those powers too vanilla for your liking? Well, worry not, because he's an alien, and you know what that means.
Fire and forget multi-round heat-seeking anal probes. This'll definitely shake some booty.
Getting around the city is aided by using Crypto's jetpack and, where applicable, his incredibly overpowered ship. Now, you might be thinking to yourselves, Ben, this all sounds rather fun actually, what's wrong with it? And, well, as you can probably tell from the footage, this game runs horribly. Terrible render distance notwithstanding, it also suffers from a sluggish frame rate, awkward traversal, muddy visuals, cheap-looking windows and dialogue boxes, and a litany of bugs, as here, where this line of dialogue failed to trigger. It's fun to zoom around the city, launching hapless humans into space, but by the fourth entry in the Destroy All Humans series, critics and fans were expecting a bit more, with the Metacritic average landing on 34%.
Forget about it!
Bomberman is boring and for babies, some executive at Konami yelled one afternoon. We need to make it gritty and dystopian. And I tell you what, they bloody did it too, because Bomberman Act 0 is fucking terrifying. God, it's just so ominous, isn't it? This presentation style, this menu, it feels ripped from a Hideo Kojima game, or at the very least this music would be more appropriate accompanying Snake as he wades up a river of dead enemies. Ugh, puts the willies right up me, it does. Yes, in 2006, an interesting decision was made by Hudson Soft to completely redesign Bomberman for the modern age, and what they came up with was... hang on, let me see here. People trapped in gimp suits with armor plating drilled into their body and then forced to compete in a horrifying knockout tournament where the only way to win is to avoid lethal explosions. Rad. Regardless of how you feel about the change in direction, however, I was honestly quite disappointed to discover that beyond the overhauled visuals, this is just, well, Bomberman. There's nothing more to it than that. Will the haunting, agonized cries of defeated enemies keep me up at night? Yes, of course they will. But I'd honestly have respected them a lot more if they'd gone further, maybe giving us a glimpse into this grim future. Who are these people? Who's running the tournament? Maybe all explained by some kind of story mode, perhaps? But no, this is just Bomberman, but now it scares children. No, wait, hang on a second. That, as it turns out, isn't actually true. I mean, it does scare children, but when I left the controller idle on the main menu to capture the music, it actually gave me some backstory. This, as far as I can tell, is the only way to trigger this, and it's scrolling text talking about the end of the world. Anyway, you'll place bombs on blocks, move out of the way so it can explode and clear said blocks, and try to explode your enemies before they can explode you. There are power-ups that drop occasionally, but the only difference between the FPB and standard modes are the camera angle, with standard showing the whole battlefield, and how easily you're killed, with FPB giving you a health bar. In both, however, all it takes is one death to send you back to the main menu. Thanks for playing. That's it. Critics complained not only of the bizarre redesign, but also of the AI difficulty and the one life to a game approach. It scored 34% on Metacritic, and if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go and have stress dreams about what happens when the timer begins to run low.
Alright, that's enough mucking about. You're going to the farm. Wait, the farm?
Yes, welcome to Farming Simulator 2013, or as it's known on consoles, Farming Simulator, owing to the fact that this was the series' non-PC debut. Wow. As a sim game, Farming Simulator 2013 aims to really immerse you in the life of a farmer, where you'll plough fields to plant crops, harvest those crops, and sell crops to balance your budget to buy more crops and vehicles to help you grow crops. It's mainly about crops, really. As such, there's a lot to learn, and thankfully the game comes equipped with tutorials. Loads of them. I tried one out and successfully attached the tool to my tractor before failing to understand how cruise control worked and flying right out of the field. Fuck it. How hard can farming really be? Right? Screw the tutorials, let's get stuck into the game proper. Oh man, that's a lot of controls. 5 seconds into the game and wow, look at my house. It's massive. Oh, and it's so idyllic here, but can I drive my car? No. Rubbish. Thankfully, to get me started, there was a nearby field ready to be harvested, and my god, the game is loud. Can you hear me? I harvested one uneven strip of crops and accidentally detached my harvesting tool. Fucking riveting, this. I then discovered I could hire a worker to do it for me. He wouldn't run me over though. Coward! With that being handled, I embarked on a wander around the property, and despite there being non-stop farm sound effects, this place is a ghost town. So I decided to head to a shop to see what was going on there. Turns out town was populated by mindless, blurry zombies, but thankfully some idiot had left a tractor for me next to the supermarket, at which point it all sort of turned into Grand Theft Farm. This map is massive, and you could seemingly use all of it to grow all manner of plant-based treats, but my patience was running a little thin, so after employing another worker to cultivate this field, look at him go, I headed into a nearby campsite and decided to bob down the river instead. Bliss. Farming Simulator 2013 is, to borrow a phrase, books level boring, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. Critics cited tedium as their main issue, but did have some fun with the wonky physics, so that's something, I suppose. 33%, according to the average listed on Metacritic. Releasing in the same month as the movie, Megamind Ultimate Showdown is precisely the sort of predictable and lazy tie-in shovelware that was commonplace at the time. Sort of like easing into a familiar pair of slippers, except you've paid £30 for them and they're exactly the same as your old slippers, but this time they have a blue man with a head shaped like a light bulb on them. First of all, how's this little boy gonna get down? I'm always worried for the little boy's safety, and seemingly they've just elected to leave him up there between DreamWorks releases. Look, he's having to fish for his food. It's a dead boy at worst and gross negligence at best, and it needs to stop. Anyway, this game released within the same month as the film's theatrical circulation and seems to take place during, or maybe after, the plot of the movie? Lots of question marks there, as in the movie, Megamind is a villain to start with before reforming and dedicating his life to helping people, and in the game, he's already a hero, but the only other plot beat that coincides is the antagonist, Titan, being the same across both pieces of media. Okay. When you're not getting confused about timelines and the safety of little boy sits on the moon and maybe dies, you're running, jumping, and beating up goons. Megamind is on the hunt for parts of his DNA tracker, which are looted from his lair and parts of which are distributed among different levels. This lair also serves as a hub for Megamind, a home for upgrading weapons, looking at collectibles, selecting missions, and, of course, a dedicated area for the credits, which auto-plays whenever you're nearby. When it comes to the platforming and combat, it's very by the numbers, with incredibly simple puzzles to solve and a fairly terrible camera to boot. He also seems to destroy a lot of public property for a hero, but who am I to judge? It's fine when the Avengers do it. And because you're looking to destroy objects and defeat enemies for upgrade currency, you'll be firing your various weapons practically non-stop, and that is both loud and annoying. Imagine 5 hours of this. Official Xbox magazine believed the graphics were the only part of the game that weren't bad, and CVG referred to it as exhausting inanity. Oh boy. Just 33% on Metacritic.
They made me extract the Mega Essence, your DNA signature that can be used to copy your abilities from your collection of plucked eyebrows.
I carefully arranged them by shape and size.
The third game in the Dead Island series and second spin-off, Escape Dead Island is initially very promising indeed, albeit in visuals alone. In a departure from the first Dead Island's adherence to graphical fidelity and realism, sort of, this game instead opts for cel-shaded comic book style visuals, but the pretty graphics hide a dirty, rotting game underneath. Because zombie. The game follows Cliff as he and some friends pilot a stolen yacht to the Benoi archipelago to bust the story wide open about just what happened with all those zombies. The boat belongs to Cliff's dad, who is rich. This means Cliff is rich, and as he stole the boat, he is both a douche because he is rich, but also because he is a rich thief, and his friends are just as likable.
Kyle, that's your type?
Shut up. You're a douche.
By way of a tutorial, the game actually begins at the time of the outbreak, with Special Agent I'm So Cool Look at My Katana infiltrating a lab to take out a mole and secure what the mole was leaking. Here you learn to sneak, use light and heavy attacks, shoot guns, and dodge. You won't get a few minutes into this tutorial, however, without realizing this game feels a bit cheap. The controls are janky at best, which unsurprisingly directly impacts the combat. I died twice at this particular bit, for example, because this zombie wouldn't be staggered and kept throwing himself at me as I desperately tried to put distance between us.
Oh, you fucker.
Equally, stealth kills are exploitable, with particularly stupid enemy AI allowing you to chain together multiple instant takedowns without ever being crouched. The camera frequently pans directly through solid objects, and as lovely as it is to see a game evoke the same visual identity as cult classic 13, the contrast and saturation are blasted so high that no amount of captions for escaping steam make the overall experience more palatable. If you were a Dead Island fan back in the day, and I don't think they truly have ever existed, then you might be able to get some enjoyment out of how the story connects, with Dead Island protagonist Jean May popping up in the intro, but at the cost of having to spend multiple hours with douchey douchebag Cliff, you're likely to find more fun in surviving an actual zombie apocalypse. 32% on Metacritic. You better watch your back, losers, because I'm a very dangerous man indeed. See, I've always known I'm sick at fighting and could do concussion on people well better than anyone else can do that, but now, through the power of Fighters Uncaged for Microsoft's Kinect, I have the proof. It's shit and I hate it. Before you can knock strangers unconscious, buy some bins, and presumably also contract hepatitis, the second worst reviewed Kinect game ever made necessitates you undergo rigorous training. And when I say rigorous, I bloody mean it, because not only does the game force you to prove you can perform each move 3 times, but if it's a strike, you'll be tasked with doing it 6 times. 3 times with a right hand limb, and 3 times with a left. Even if you do choose to skip through them, again, I'm sick at fighting, no training for me, you'll then have to spar with your trainer. 4 times! That's 2 rounds for a win, by the way. If somehow you've managed to make it this far without shutting the game down and snapping the disc, you're finally ready to rise up through the ranks of the elite world of underground fighting. Oh, the places you'll see. There's Ratface in the park, riders next to the bins, and movers on the docks. Oh, how exotic. I probably don't need to tell you this, but here we go. The Kinect doesn't work, and it absolutely does not read your inputs properly. As long as you're throwing punches and kicks, you should be fine, as the Kinect sort of knows what arms and legs are, but hooks, uppercuts, anything requiring a specific, subtle gesture, it has no clue. Now, it is, admittedly, pretty cool to block a kick with your knee and then kick them with the other leg, but these moments rarely present themselves, or rather, the Kinect is trying so desperately to keep up with your gestures that it doesn't deploy them in time. Regardless of its accuracy though, the game does provide a decent little workout. I had to remove my hoodie and my socks over the course of my recording, and my shoulders were a little tight the next day, though that's possibly not because I exercised, but rather that no human being ever flails around the way one does when playing Kinect. It's unnatural. Almost every single reviewer brought up the horrible tutorial, and collectively, they awarded the game a score of 32 out of 100.
Just one fight to get a lifetime reputation. Yours is made.
Holy shit, did he just leave an enemy to die in a nuclear blast? That's a bit fucking dark, Griffin. What the hell is wrong with you? This is Jumper Griffin's story, a game released to coincide with the naff movie Jumper that released at the same time. What do you mean you've never heard of Griffin? He's the side character who can teleport. God, you haven't heard of Jumper either? It's the critically despised movie about a magic boy who can also teleport, starring Hayden Christensen. We all caught up now? Good. Wikipedia describes this game as an action-adventure, but that's being extremely generous, as despite it receiving a release on Xbox 360, it definitely feels like an early PS2 brawler at best. You enter arenas, normally with multiple breaks for the camera to awkwardly pan and show goons arriving at the area, you then hit them until they're dead, and you move on. Griffin mouths off almost non-stop, and despite IMDb listing movie actor Jamie Bell as reprising his role, this accent and performance is not good.
Kid takes the hint. I've been a terrible host. I must attend to my guest. I have only one question. I'll ask it once, politely. Where's Roland?
Given that Griffin can teleport, the devs have tried to do something interesting with the combat, and Griffin will zap to each cardinal direction of an enemy depending on what face button you press. So, for example, press Y and he attacks them from above. Hit enough enemies in the spot indicated by a green highlight and you build up your special meter, which leads to an awkward cutaway where Griffin murders them in the most horrific way possible. Jesus Christ. Some stronger foes have red indicators, and if you attack them there, they'll counter. This can be a source of immense frustration though, because the mechanic is so clunky that the direction you are or aren't supposed to attack in shifts constantly, meaning you often end up hitting these no-no points accidentally. Further leaning into the teleporting gimmick, some areas require you to manually phase through solid objects, and this is presented in the least user-friendly fashion imaginable, making it feel like you're doing something wrong. Am I boundary breaking? It's all shit, basically. It looks horrible, plays worse, the weird mismatch of comic book style and in-engine cutscenes are at odds, Griffin is unlikable as a character, and I honestly have no idea why this was even made. Griffin's hunting paladins who are hunting him, and that's all we're really told. A whopping 29% on Metacritic for this one, and I've saved Griffin's most war-crimey kill for last. Here you go. Oh yeah, here we go, sports time! I've played a sports minigame collection before. Waving, dabbing, and trying to break parts of my avatar's body. But I've never partaken in a sports minigame collection, so I'm going to give this everything I've got. Oh God, oh, Jesus, no, oh, bloody hell. Welcome to Sports Island Freedom, or Deca Sports Freedom if you want to get outside of the PAL region about this. An eclectic selection of sporting ventures powered by the unstoppable Kinect motion tracking system, available now. Things started well, as I was only too happy to make my little avatar in the corner boogie on down. Do not ask for the footage of me actually dancing, it does not exist. At this point, I had to select which sport to dominate first, and there are quite a lot to choose from. Boxing, tennis, beach volleyball, archery, kendo, mogul skiing, figure skating, dodgeball, snowboard cross, and paintball. I went for a spot of boxing first, and as you can tell, the Kinect's tracking is working exactly as intended. Good stuff. Each sport does offer a tutorial to get you up to speed, but weirdly doesn't actually let you practice the gestures yourself, instead just showing you how to do it. This is probably for the best, because the game likely knew that A, the Kinect wasn't going to do a good job, and B, I was literally going to punch my opponent in the groin over and over again until he passed out. First round knockout for me. These control woes carried over to every single sport I sampled. Tennis, for example, sometimes just wouldn't register my movements at all. Beach volleyball, similarly, had my avatar stand there like a lemming. Seemingly, the only way to get it to actually act on your movements is to, as with Fighters Uncaged earlier in the video, move with large, bombastic motion, risking damage to nearby living room objects and strain to joints. In dodgeball, no matter what I did, I couldn't catch the ball or dodge, and those two things are in the name of the fucking sport, and at that point I was losing hope. Sports Island Freedom looks bad and plays worse. As with most Kinect titles, it's hard to say what's the fault of the game and what you can blame on the Kinect itself, but when it came time for the critics to speak, they elected this stinker the worst Kinect game ever released, with a score of 26%. Can't say I blame them. Fast and Furious Showdown is an original story, or so says the box. So what can we expect from such a novel idea? Vince Petrol and his family storming through a city, undertaking a high-stakes heist in fast cars? No, we're not going to do that. Oh, it's flashbacks to moments from various fast films with weird rubbery people in between. That's an original story too, I suppose. Riley Hicks is rummaging around Dwayne Johnson's office with the goal of finding out what he's been up to, and with the assistance of Monica Fuentes and the player, she's regaled with stories of his escapades. Except Dwayne wasn't present for a lot of these flashbacks and so wouldn't know about them, and further to that, Dwayne's not here at all. In fact, almost none of the actors reprise their roles and appear in likeness and sound-alike form only. And get this, Mr. Family himself, Dominic Toretto, is absent from the game entirely.
You'll always be my brother.
So much for that, you big, bold liar. Anyway, let's talk about the driving. It's bad. Surprise! Now, to give the game its dues, each mission is reasonably varied, from driving a car with a wedge catapult thing on it, to driving a car with a safe attached to it, to driving a car with lots of other people driving cars. Truth be told, all of these cars handle practically identically, but when you've got a safe tied to the back and an AI or friend controlling the buddy car, the physics are just a nightmare, with massive multi-car pile-ups or sudden, neck-breaking stops a near constant threat. It's also not much of a looker. Those haunting waxworks from the cutscenes were clearly vetoed by the movie actors' agents, and so stilted conversations between cars with slow zooms are the norm.
The convoy's moving. On my go, do not hold back.
There's also almost no draw distance on the night driving segments, meaning it's practically guaranteed that you'll smash into sudden bends and corners, and no, that crappy little map does not help a bit.
Come on!
Oh my god, what the hell? The AI is too good at rubber banding away or towards you, especially on the survive levels. The car handling is impressively unimpressive, and it's just a bit of a naff concept for what was promised to be a new chapter in the storied and incredibly artful fanned-for franchise. IGN said that it seemed to actively try to persuade them to stop playing before they reached the finish line, and the average review score was only 22%.
Oh, then I'm your POC. I'm Monica Fuentes. You got my name right?
I don't know. Maybe.
Crikey, where to even start with this one? My goodness me. Ride to Hell Retribution is not only the lowest reviewed Xbox 360 game of all time, but is also considered to be one of the worst video games of all time. It follows Jake Conway and his big, weird-looking mouth as he gets revenge on rival motorcycle gang Devil's Hand for their part in killing his brother Mikey. As you can immediately tell, it's fucking hideous, with horrid, gangly character models.
You look like shit, Jake.
Yeah, I feel like shit, Mac.
Gameplay-wise, if extensive, tedious shootouts through brown and beige environments aren't your speed, then you're shit out of luck here, friend. Thankfully, however, these bits are broken up by numerous motorbike riding sections, which see you either pursue or make your way to an objective. But, unsurprisingly, it controls like crap, and as the Hanna-Barbera-style repeated assets scroll past again and again, you'll quickly find yourself wishing to be playing something, anything else. These sections always outstay their welcome and consist of long stretches of driving for no reason other than to force the player to remember that this is a game about bikes. There's no map, no objective marker, you just keep going until hitting an arbitrary point. I mean, is it funny when you kick someone off their bike and it explodes without fail? Yes, but only the first 100 times. It's a bit of a Frankenstein's monster of a game, really, as it was once intended to be an open-world sandbox title before being reworked into mission areas separated by frustrating driving sections. Just take this section near the start of the game, for example, in which there's seemingly a good couple of city blocks, but they serve absolutely no purpose other than for Jake to jog from one side of a road to the other. There's also hand-to-hand combat, and Arkham Asylum, it is not. Perhaps what Ride to Hell is most famous for, however, is its sex scenes, which impressively are neither sexy or feature sex, given the participants are fully clothed. I think I can get away with showing you one of said scenes? Ah, fuck it, let's roll the dice. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Wowee, right? Pretty sexy. It's comedic beyond relief, buggy beyond repair, and rubbish beyond enjoyment. I streamed the entire thing for charity a couple of years back, and it near enough ended me. Was for a worthwhile cause, though. Ride to Hell Retribution was panned across the board and received a review average of just 19%. And that 19% brings the average review score of the worst Xbox 360 games to 29.4%. And there we have it, the 10 worst reviewed Xbox 360 games of all time. Were there any on that list that you enjoyed? I bet there are some Megamind sickos out there. Aren't there? Go on, let me know in the comments. A massive thank you for watching the video. Why not drop a subscribe? Why not drop a like? Why not share the video with your friends? I'm live on Twitch multiple times a week, twitch.tv/confused_dude. Come and hang out live. And a massive thank you to the channel members right here on YouTube that are scrolling on your screen right now. I'll be back soon with another video, but until then, look after yourselves and goodbye.